Hey, guys! Welcome to the Bodo Podcast. Today I have Alex Nowis with me today. Hey, Alex.
Evening, folks. Good to see you or hear from you again in the comments. So looking forward to hearing your views tonight.
Awesome. Now, today's episode, we're going to be focusing on the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So basically, we're going to see what's going to be happening in the next 5-10 years in the MCU. What films should they make, or Marvel stuff in general. I've got a few ideas they could do. We'll mention some announced projects they're already working on, like, for example, they're doing Doctor Strange 2, Shang-Chi and is it the Five Rings?
Hang on, I've got the title right here.
Shang-Chi the Five.
The Legend of the Ten Rings.
Ten Rings. And we got the Internals. Black Widow's meant to come out this year, but it's got delayed to 2021. And I think we got some MCU TV shows.
Spider-Man Homecoming 3.
Spider-Man 3, I'm the one I'm really looking forward to, because there's rumors of the live action Spider-Verse. So, and we actually might be getting a trailer really soon. Maybe tomorrow, we never know.
Oh, indeed. Then we've got Thor: Love and Thunder. Doctor Strange.
We got Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Captain Marvel 2.
We got so many sequels already on the way.
There is. I'm just scrolling through a list at the minute, and I didn't think there was this many sequels. I was like, what? There's how many?
The funny thing is, Alex, I always thought, a lot of people, my friends, and they were saying that, well, what they're going to do after the Avengers Endgame, because they feel like that's the end of the MCU. And I was like, no, they're going to carry on, because, I don't know, that's how... they'll carry on doing different characters, focus on... I don't think they'll ever reboot it. It's too perfect to remake the whole Iron Man movies again and the Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, the person that says, I know, let's do a reboot, is the person that deserves to never write another script in their life ever again.
Yeah, so, like... I was scared if that was the idea to do a new Iron Man film, or like a recast, like some of the, or remake them all, because they create a beautiful universe of stuff. So
yeah, I think just on the beautiful universe, and I'm sure we'll touch on this, but I think potentially the first time something like this on this scale has been done in cinematic history.
Yeah, well, now you got all these other studios that are trying to copy what Marvel doing, like the DC universe are trying to build they're trying to build their own kind of MCU. There's this horror universe with like Frankenstein, Dracula. They're trying to do and the Mummy, with the Tom Cruise Mummy film that came out, I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I saw that not so long ago.
I don't think it did well, but they were trying to do their own horror universe. I would actually like to see a slasher universe with... I think they almost started with Freddy vs. Jason, but I think they were meant to do the third one with Ash, and then there's something wrong with the rights, so... But beside on that, we're going to be focused on all these Marvel stuff and projects. So now, I'm not sure everyone knew or know, like, it's pretty big news for last... a year ago. Disney has actually bought Fox... and then they own all the rights to the Marvel properties with like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Now, to the Phase 4 or the Phase 5, does this mean do you think they'll ever bring the X-Men or the Fantastic Four into the MCU? And like, which characters should they focus on first? Right, so Alex,
I'm not sure if they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU. I mean, well, hang on, they kind of already have with Deadpool.
No, Deadpool's with the Fox. How I see it, because X-Men has a weird kind of universe going on with the whole. It kind of not really got rebooted, but they focus on. So they did X-Men 1, 2, and 3, and then Wolverine Origins, and like some of the spin-offs. And then they went back to do like a prequel to the X-Men First Class and the Days of Future Past. So they kind of changed the timeline a lot. And so it's like a younger generation of the X-Men. Now,
hang a minute, I'm confused, and call me an amateur here. But wasn't Deadpool 2 at least? Did that not flirt with the X-Men universe?
Deadpool, right? So Deadpool has an excuse. He likes to break the fourth wall, so he can do whatever he wants. Where he can reference the MCU. He usually trash about Disney. That's what's something funny about Deadpool. Because in the comics, he always it's his kind of like style. You know, he always like to break the fourth wall. Now, because it's like there's one joke I laughed on the first Deadpool where he said, which Professor X, is it Xavier or wait, is it Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy? So like he even like admits the timeline's all gone wrong in the whole X-Men universe. But being Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds has recently signed a contract where they're going to do a massive MCU contract, so Deadpool 3 is going to be in MCU, apparently. So they even done a Christmas special where it's sort of like to test a PG audience, because, you know, I don't think Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney are going to like do R-rated films. In the, you know, it's meant to be like a PG or 12.
I mean, that's concerning.
But they did really well, because they did a test where they re-released I think Deadpool 1 and 2 back in cinemas and made it into like a friendly Christmas movie where all Ryan Reynolds swearing are just like bleeped out, and he makes that, why is this bleeping? But yeah, so I'm quite excited because I know they're definitely working on something. Now, I thought, I don't know, have you seen Spider-Man Far From Home?
That's the one with the villain. Oh, what's the villain's name in that?
Mysterio.
Oh.
He's our villain.
Yes, I know. I couldn't remember. I was like, damn it, what's
how
his
do you
name?
not remember the villain's name? He's in that film. Funny story. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Alex, but funny story. I put Mysterio first. Just let you know, guys. I didn't know they're actually going to put Mysterio in Far From... When they were making the... Sorry about my voice is going. When they were making Far From Home, I was also making the Spider-Man 2. I was writing the script and the storyline. And I was like... I think me and Levo was sitting down somewhere. I was like, I really want to put Mysterio as a villain, because I know it's not really been done yet. And I loved the video games on the TV series. And then just 2 or 3 weeks later, I think Marvel has just announced Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be the new Mysterio. I was like, oh my god, like how ironic. that's just insane. And then...
Is there ever such a thing as a coincidence?
I felt like Sony Spies was on my back. But no, it was cool because I always wanted to see a live action Mysterio anyway. And... I was just like, I wasn't frustrated. I was excited too, because I did like the character. And then I really wanted to release mine before Far From Home, but it just never happened because we got so much filming to do and the editing and still working on it right now. So, and basically, I watched the film and I said, there's some scenes that are very similar to mine. And I not even filmed it before when I saw the trailer. So it was like... You know, I don't want to spoil my film, but there's certain scenes that are really like similar to what I did. So I couldn't really concentrate properly watching it because I keep thinking about my Spider-Man 2 than Tom Holland's Spider-Man 2. So it wasn't enjoyable for me.
Yeah. So I think before we should talk about the future of the MCU, I think we should look back on its past. Now, I'm talking about from phase 1 onwards. So, you know, the most recent ones, not like the Incredible Hulk of the 80s or anything like that.
Well, they had Iron Man, Captain America 4, and Incredible Hulk for the Phase 1.
Phase 1. Yeah, so talking about how it's grown and developed from Phase 1. So I'll be honest. So when it first came out in like Phase 1, I was not remotely interested. I remember, films that were out back then, around that time, 2008, 2009, 2010, that type of time. And none of those were even on my agenda. And it wasn't until I started hanging around with a guy called Adam, and he's massively into the MCU. Well, he was not massively into it, but he's like, Alex, you need to see this. And I'm like, fine. So he dragged me along to go see it, and I was like, oh, wow, that's actually quite enjoyable. And then he said, and I remember me and him sitting in the cinema at the end of, I think it was the first Iron Man. And he said, also, there's all these movies that are linked in. And I'm like, right, okay. And he says, so there's going to be like another 20 or 15 movies that all link into me. And I've sat down with him in the cinema watching the credits. I'm like, are you going to make another 15 of these? And I was like, stop. The first one was like so good. And I'm like, how can you build it? My mind was literally blown because I was like, how can you build a story that big? And that's when I really started getting into it. And I was like, this is just fantastic. And I very quickly evolved into being a massive fan. And, admittedly, I don't know anywhere near as much as what true diehard fans do because my knowledge is still limited.
I gotta admit, side stroke, but I gotta admit, when I first were watching when the first MCU films came out, and I didn't know they were all related because I was used to watching the X-Men and the Spider-Man trilogy, and I thought they're all linked in somehow. And when Iron Man came out, I thought, it's just another random film they're doing. I didn't know what the hell Iron Man was until I watched, because I actually missed out watching Thor, Captain America. As a really big Marvel fan, everyone's gonna like scream at me, how can you not watch all the films in order? Because I wasn't really interested on Thor or Captain America because I knew what they were. I knew in the past, this is what like during back in 2008, I thought they were all linked anyway, even with the X-Men, Spider-Man. And then watching...
Hand on heart, I was the exact same. Like for me, a superhero, I was like, oh yeah, they're all linked together somehow, and I never really put all the pieces together in the jigsaw.
And then watching the first Avengers in the cinemas, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I was thinking, where's Spider-Man? Where's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man gone? And I realized, oh, that's in a different universe. And then everything started to explain to me where, oh, this is not part of the whole Marvel universe. I was so confused. Where's Hugh Jackman Wolverine? Like, they're missing some characters out there in Avengers. No one saw the trailer. And then I started to like understand and learn a bit about the whole MCU storyline, and I rewatched all the previous like solo films. It's just where like they have like different actors in some of the films, and it gets quite confusing. But that never really bothers me. But
just to bring in some of the viewers. So Nim, I think I'm saying that right. Nim Productions say, do you hear that Dr. Octopus might be in Spider-Man 3? I did not hear this. However,
did you not hear this? I was going to go through the Q&As before later, but might as well do some now. So it's not confirmed yet, but it's a rumor that Alfred Molina, who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, is already been doing some filming in the recent Tom Holland Spider-Man. Now, so what I was saying about the multiverse? I keep going about this multiverse, and what the hell is a multiverse? A multiverse is combining different universe or different Spider-Mans together. So it's been doing that since like the comics. But yeah, so there is a rumor going on where Alfred Molina, Doc Ock's going to return. Now, I don't know if you heard about Electro returning, Alex. Jamie Foxx, who played...
No, I do know of Electro.
Have you seen Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Hang on, which one's that one again?
That's one where it came out in 2014. It's probably, people say it's their worst favorite, it's the worst Spider-Man out of the whole films, but...
No, I have not.
But yeah, so there was a Electro character played by Jamie Foxx. Apparently he's actually in, this is confirmed, he's actually in the new Tom Holland Spider-Man, and he posted a picture on Instagram where it showed Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland standing together by this massive Electro in the background, and he had to quickly delete it because I think he got a lot in trouble for that. Now, this is why I strongly believe that, and everyone could there's a bit of a no, these are just rumors. Don't listen to these, or oh no, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. Now, I strongly believe it's happening. I don't know how well they're trying to keep it as a secret, but they're doing. I think Spider-Man 3 is definitely going to be a multiverse because there's so much evidence that explains these characters are coming in. Because why would they recast the same actor who played in previous Spider-Man films? Not in the Tom Holland universe, the other Spider-Man films. It doesn't make sense. You would normally cast a new actor. It doesn't, and that's a way, especially in Hollywood, where they don't want to confuse the audience. Now, the recent cartoon, live action, Spider Into the Spider-Verse, I feel like that was a test to see if the audience won't get confused with the universe of different Spider-Mans, and that did really well. That bloody got an Oscar. It actually got an Oscar.
So confession again, guys. I haven't seen that one, but I have heard amazing things about it. And Shahzaib has actually told me to watch it.
You need to watch it, dude. You need to watch it. That just explains everything to you. There's why there's 3 Spider-Mans. That film just explains. It's amazing how now Doctor Strange. I want to go to Doctor Strange 2 because. That title, the multiverse, is actually referencing that. And the director of Doctor Strange 2 is the same director of the Spider-Man films, Sam Raimi. So I feel like we're gonna already hitting the whole multiverse storyline already just before Spider-Man 3. So that's another evidence that this is definitely happening.
And let's be honest, the one superhero who can literally do anything and cross over to any universe whenever they like is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly. He's got. I think there was a scene I can't remember from the first film. Did he go to the multiverse in one little bit, or was that just a? I don't remember now.
Yeah, I think that was just him, disappearing for a little while.
How great would this be? In the film, there's no news or it's all unexpected. In the halfway of the film, Doctor Strange goes to this random universe, and he sees Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. How insane would that be to you?
It'd be explosive. I'd be sat there in the cinema or wherever I'm watching it, and I'd be like, "What the beep?"
Because he's actually in Spider-Man 3 as well. That's another piece of evidence that Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to play the mentor, and he's the only Avenger can actually go to the different universe. So everything is kind of summing up, but no one's admitting. Sony can't admit anything yet because it's all part of the contract. Obviously, they're trying to put in Titans as a secret because they don't want to spoil the whole surprise. They're very, very good. I'm gonna admit, Marvel or Sony, I'll say Sony, I'd say Marvel has definitely done really well with the spoilers, especially with Endgame. Have you seen, the trailer was just it's still a good trailer, but that whole portal scene in the end, just a bits of that would make everyone go to the cinemas, but they still did really well. They so, for the spoiler, they didn't want to show any of that. It's just amazing.
And let's just not forget the Russo brothers, who directed both of the Captain America films and the 2 Avengers films, have expressed an interest in helming a Secret Wars movie. Secret
Wars.
Yeah.
Now, I know you said they're not going to bring X-Men. I believe the multiverse is going to change them.
I didn't say that. I think I can see them doing it, but I would just want to take a step back so I could understand it.
Right. I think they're going to slowly build up the X-Men and the Fantastic Four slowly in MCU. I think that's what's going to be Phase 4 and Phase 5 going to be about. Because they got so much characters to focus on now. There's one movie I would really, really want them to make, and I think they were already planning it to do before the whole Fox contract. I don't know if it's got cancelled. And I was worried they were going to make one because it's not going to be an MCU, because I know about this whole Fox and Disney deal going on. I was like, oh, please, like, put this in MCU, it's going to be perfect. I really want to see a Doctor Doom solo movie. And do it in the style of the Joker, like a dark film with just Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, because I think the two Fantastic Four, they kind of ruined Doctor Doom a lot. And they didn't really give into his origins, like, he runs his own country. And originally I thought he would actually appear in Black Panther 2 as a villain. That would make a lot of sense. Where, he's invading Wakanda because he's got his own country to run. And he's actually quite good friends with Doctor Strange. They're both kind of like sorcery wizards, But I would be interested in a Doctor Doom movie. But like a Joker kind of dark style.
Especially if it was done in the style of the Joker-esque movies.
Yeah, like Doctor Doom is a very interesting villain.
And he's never been explored.
Yeah, well, they just made him in the Fantastic Four, the two versions of Fantastic Four. I'm not going to mention the last one because I'm not even going to bother seeing that one. And that's total rubbish.
Carnage. Slow-moving train wreck.
Yes. But in the first... They made it so like a comic-y... Yeah, this comic-y, like, character, This arch Power Ranger villain. The typical, like, villains out there. Like this... And then, I would prefer they actually explore his, like... there's so much stuff you can go to with Doctor Doom. For the big bad, if they do the next phases, what do you think about Galactus as the new Thanos? Galactus is a very, very big villain.
So he definitely has what's the word I'm looking for? The stature to fill the role. They've just got to get the script writing bang on.
I think they should put Doctor Doom as like sort of the Loki style of the film.
Well, I think what's important is that with any future villains, because obviously, we've had the big crescendo, we've had the big leader where, Thanos is now dead. That's it. So now whatever they do next, they've got to build up to that type of crescendo again.
That's why I was thinking Galactus.
Yeah. And do they then, and that he's got the stature to do it, and then do they go above the crescendo with Thanos to say, look, there's even bigger, more perilous evil out there, or do they keep it kind of just subdued and say that Thanos is kind of the be all end all?
I think Doctor Doom should be like the Loki villain in Avengers, but then the Avengers have to team up with him. But it's like, do you trust Doctor Doom?
Yeah.
So he's not this very powerful villain like Thanos, but he's in a lot of the Avengers film as like a villain. But there's certain situations where he has to team up with Doctor Doom to stop this bigger threat. So I thought that would be interesting.
Hey Shaz, just looking at the comments. So again, the Nim Nim production says there should be a Spider-Man movie with the animated version, just like the Spider-Verse, because in his opinion, that is the best universe. And then the Alien Vlogs. What if they made a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4?
I would love that. I was so gutted when Spider-Man 4 got cancelled.
Yeah, I would like that, Toby.
I was confused because remakes was pretty popular at that time, 2010, 2009. I remember because Spider-Man 4 was announced, I think, after Spider-Man 3. Then it got postponed, and then Sony, Avi Arad is the one who killed Spider-Man for us. He wants to push Venom and all that. But
I remember watching the Tobey Maguire films when I was younger, and I thought they were brilliant.
and I said, why do you need to reboot it? There's no need. And plus, like usually in remakes, they remake films from like 20 years ago, and that Spider-Man 3 just came out 2 or 3 years ago already. So
Exactly.
they just wanted to keep the license, and that's why they did with Andrew Garfield, because Sam Raimi was trying to find a good script, and he didn't want to fail like he did with Spider-Man 3. I personally like Spider-Man 3. I know a lot of people hate that film, but I don't think it's horrible what people say. I think a lot of stuff in that film, Sam Raimi did a really incredible, like the Sandman storyline, and I do agree with people where they say it was rushed with like the 3 villains, like, but that's not Sam Raimi's fault. Remember, that's all with Sony, like forcing him to put these for like to sell toys.
I absolutely agree with that. You could see that Spider-Man 3 was rushed, but I think that you had the basic premise there of something successful. If something was there, and they could have done a way better job of it. But
I'm just shocked how people treat Sam Raimi after, like the way they, I was upset. Well, it's not Sam Raimi's fault. He even feels that like he was trying to redeem with Spider-Man 4. What they should have done in Spider-Man 3, and I thought it would be to fix all the problems, they should have made the symbiote scene into, not put Venom, but the bit where Tobey Maguire gets the black suit. That should be the last scene in the film. Sort of like the Avengers Infinity War, where it ends in a bad note.
Yeah.
And then introduce Venom, because you got too many things like storylines going on. Make Sandman as the main villain. Maybe push aside with the Harry Osborn. I know they're trying to set up with the Spider-Man 2, after Spider-Man 2. So you can still have his character in it, but in Spider-Man 3, then if they want Venom, then do it as a part 2 thing. And then there, you got that kind of a really bridged storyline, and it's not rushed. You get what Ivy Ryrid wanted. You get what Sam Raimi wanted, because there was so much potential with Sandman. That scene alone, with the bit where he picks up the locket, it is so emotional and moving at the same time. It was just like art. Sorry, getting a bit too expressive about that, but
No, I agree. Like I said, but I think. And I'm going to say something maybe a little bit controversial. Isn't this always Sony's thing?
Yes.
They always to kind of mess it up. They make a hash of things.
It's a business. It's they don't give. I'm not going to swear, but they don't give a rubbish about the whole storyline or anything like that. They just want to make money, and they got a bit too arrogant, because Spider-Man 2 did insanely well in the box office, insanely well. And then even from the eyes for Spider-Man 3, that didn't. That's because of Spider-Man 2. It opened. Just remember, when you leave a film in a cliffhanger, people want to watch the next part.
Of course they do.
So that's Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is the reason why Spider-Man 3 did so well in the box office.
And that's one of the reasons why the Avengers film has been so successful. And let's not forget, let's give Sam Raimi credit where credit's due. He's been directing films since the 70s.
With Evil Dead and Ash and...
So within the Woods, it's murder. He's been around a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's not exactly rubbish. I mean, don't get me wrong. In recent times, since kind of the turn of the century, 2000, there hasn't been loads of his films that are kind of, broken records. But there is some bad ones, just looking at some of them now. The Grudge 2, one of my favorite horror films, one thing I think back to quite frequently is 30 Days of Night. One of the first horror films that I saw when I started working at the cinema in the Odeon days. And I saw that, and I thought it was great in terms of like cliffhangers and stuff. The Poltergeist 2015, The Possession. He knows what he's doing. So, yeah.
Let's. Right. So now he's back. So this is a good thing that kind of lightened my day. Did you actually, before I've gone towards this, did you know Kevin Feige was involved? You know who Kevin Feige is, right?
No.
Oh no. Kevin Feige he's the one who helped build the MCU. He's the one who created the MCU. He's the producer. He's a producer of Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, I think he's the reason for the MCU. But he was actually involved with the Tobey Maguire films back in the day, as a small part producer. But but I'm so glad he got Sam Raimi back to, because Doctor Strange 2 is meant to be sort of a horror film as well. I think Scott Derrickson. I can't pronounce this. I can't remember his second name, so please excuse me. But I think it's Scott. He was a director in the first Doctor Strange, but then I think Sam Raimi replaced him because he had a bit of a different kind of ideas how the film should go. But like I said, he's a horror director, and he's done the 3 great Spider-Man movies. So I'm glad they got a perfect director for this. Now, I hope Marvel does justice for Sam Raimi and give a chance to finish the story he hasn't. He does really regret with not making Spider-Man 4 because he still thinks about it. Like, what happened if I did a Spider-Man 4? And I hope Marvel gives his, redeem his, trilogy. Yeah.
Just let me touch back on something. So, Sony, right? And I'm just going to go a little bit off topic here. So I work selling phones, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, 10 years ago, Sony were, really popular, and they used to have about 10%, maybe 20% world market share of phones, which is it's pretty impressive. Now they have they have less than 1% of world's total market share, which is ridiculous. Movies they constantly mess up.
Ghostbusters.
Well, don't even get me stuck on that. Jesus. I don't know if anybody here is subscribed to the Critical Drinker on YouTube, but his review of the modern Ghostbusters was hilarious. So go check that out. There's a little plug for someone else's show. But honestly, the only decent thing that Sony can make is a games console. And the only reason why they have to make something decent is because they've got Microsoft, biting at their tails and in many ways beating them because they've had to, because of the Xbox, Sony have had to improve the PlayStation. So I used to have a lot of time and respect for Sony, but when I see them things just constantly messing things up and plugging things up, I'm like, what are you doing?
Just a typical corporation, but money. Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
Oh yeah,
I just feel a dozen of Mr. Krabs in the Sony building, just money, egg.
They don't listen to the audience.
They don't care. Basically.
Yeah, and they don't listen to the customers.
Don't sue us, Sony, please.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, hi, Sony. I mean,
yeah. Sony watching, but yeah, we're speaking from our mind, so it's true.
But honestly, but hang on. Even what they're going to do if they sue us? All I'll do, if they turn up in a court with Shahzaib, we can film this in just real life. Be like, Your Honor, we would like you to Sony. Your Honor, we would like to sue.
We want to sue from Mysterio. Take an idea from Mysterio. Oh wait, we don't own the Spider-Man characters. We're doing it for fan films, so.
And at that point, I'll just stand up and be like, Your Honor, I'd like to present to you the evidence of Sony's profits in recent years, and just look at this, how it's slowly spiraling into the red.
Oh no. Let's focus on let's talk about the future of the current alive characters. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it's in the title, the future of the MCU, so this is gonna go spoiling the whole endgame. Tony Stark's died, Black Widow's died, and Captain America. I don't know what I'm saying in a very kind of all this stuff happened. Sorry to ruin your childhood dreams, but yes, these characters did die in the film. So
yes, the Black Widow did die in the film, but she's getting her own movie.
But that's a prequel, so it doesn't.
We know. But who's to say? Because this is the MCU, so who knows?
Like I said, sometimes when they kill off characters, I know Tony Stark. I know Robert Downey Jr. is going to he doesn't want to return back because kind of tired of like doing how many movies he's done, how many Marvel movies he's done now.
I don't know. The thing is, he's been doing it since 2008, and that's just the release date. So he's probably been filming this.
I think he's a bit knackered from all these films. I can see why he's not going to return for any more, because he wants to focus on other things in his career. But I think Captain America is he's kind of he's not dead. I think they did say he died in Far From Home from old age, but I have no idea what was. That was a weird way to kind of end Captain America's storyline, where he's in, like, what, not end the story, like, I know they ended it well in the ending of Endgame because he went back to see Peggy, but yeah, my point is that the three main Avengers are like not going to be around in the future, but Thor and Hulk are still around. Now, I would kind of be interested in seeing an older Thor, because I think Chris Hemsworth still wants to stick around for a couple more films.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Hulk. I think Mark Ruffalo is still. I know he's doing some stuff with She-Hulk, but I feel like they're going to there's actually going to be a female Thor. There's in the comics there's different versions of Thor. So I feel like in the last Thor film, he's gonna retire after that, and then the whole the worthy thing goes to Natalie Portman, who plays Jane Foster in the Thor movies, but she's gonna be the new Thor.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Shahzaib, just a quick question: what's your thoughts on Miss Marvel being casted now?
I mean, that's interesting. I not really know. I don't know the actress who's playing her. I literally just started playing the Avengers game. I was on. I heard it didn't do well for reasons, but I just bought it from Xbox. It was like a Black Friday deal, and I thought I want to try it out. And it's actually not that bad. I like the storyline so far, but I think I wasn't really familiar who Miss Marvel was. But I got to know the character and from the game, and I kind of looked up on it. So, but yeah, I'll see. I'm excited for it. See how it goes. At least we've got some more Disney Plus shows going around, because we need some more shows. Like, I think I paid for a year, and now it's like I just had the Mandalorian, and this old. I felt like it was a bit of a waste for the content.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see what they do. And I heard she's going to be in a future Marvel film. So this is what goes back to the title of the subject, is the future MCU. So I feel like they're trying to build a new kind of roster. So I feel like she's sort of. I feel like there is also a Young Avengers. There's also another thing where it's about Captain America's kids. So apparently, I don't know if, please. I hope I don't might get this wrong or right, but I think Black Widow and Captain America has a kid together, and then there's Ant-Man and the Wasp kid, and so all these Avengers, like Tony Stark's kid, they all team up as like the new Young Avengers. And I think Spider-Man, because he's quite young, I feel like he'll be a good fit for that. So I don't know if that's gonna focus on that. They're trying to. But the sad thing about one thing I really does upset about the future MCU is the Black Panther.
You literally stole my thunder. That's the
I
next
stole you.
thing. Okay.
I'm going to carry on stealing it. I'm going to carry on what I'm going to say. Then you can.
Before you go on, rest in peace.
Rest in peace for Chadwick Boseman.
The guy. I
was so upset when I saw the thing, and seeing, just to pay our respect, give a bit of a moment to him. He had cancer for, I think, even before Civil War, or I think it was after Civil War.
Yeah, I don't know how long he had it for, but
he carried on playing this character that mean a lot to these kids and people. You just have to give respect to this guy, And
And let's remember, guys. So, of the 5 people who are watching us, thank you very much for sticking with us. How many? So I don't know if anyone's older than 43, but just think about that. He probably was not even halfway through his life. People are now living in their late 80s, late 90s, sometimes even to over the hundreds. So he still had so much more to give, and that performance from him was earth-shatteringly good, and I thought that film was executed exceptionally. And for me, as a film, if I take that as a standalone film from the MCU, I'm going to make a bit of a bold claim, and I think that as a standalone film was my favorite Black Panther.
Same. I think there was one interview that really touched me and made it great, because there's a bit where he was talking about, because he was visiting kids with a similar condition with cancer, and no one knew. No one actually knew. He kept it from from everyone, but people he can relate to them. The people who, because I think these kids went to visit him on set, and I think he was given a really nice speech where, I need to focus on my accent. I need to get to the gym. He really pulled so much to the role, because you know how much it means to a lot of people.
Yeah,
and and I feel like he's a real hero in real life.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about his inspiration that he would have cast, and let's not forget, not just Chadwick Boseman. Every person, every actor or actress from that film, for it to be the first all-black female. Yeah, and remember, guys, although we think, and I'm just going to touch on something in the real world, although, we'd like to think that racism and things have long since gone, we still have to remember that these things still impact people. So for me, I was incredibly touched and so happy and heartwarmed that a film like that, cast the way it was and told and portrayed the way it was in these times where, we saw the horrific scenes in racial tension in America this year, for that film to do so incredibly well, I think must have inspired so many people across all genders, races, religions, nationalities. I thought I cannot say a single bad thing about it. It was just exceptional.
It was beautiful. I remember watching cinemas, and I just, it wasn't just because of the whole black thing. It was the film as well, the storyline, everything was brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, the way the story was told, forgetting about the cast for a second, but the way that story was told, I thought was exceptional. And the way the actors and actresses portrayed that story was exceptional. And for it to win, was it 3 Oscars, you said, Shahzaib?
I think it got, I don't know if it was costume design, it was nominated for best, I could be wrong, it could be best picture, or it did well with, I love the soundtrack. That's one thing I love. He did the Mandalorian soundtrack as well, but I can't pronounce his name. It's a very long name, but he did amazing. I love the bit where they go to the sun, when they first go to Wakanda. There's this very beautiful kind of alarm. The singing choral, the vocals.
Yeah.
In the sunset, and I think I was sitting with my friend, and he was saying, "Oh, that actually reminded me back in my country." And it hits to everyone's culture, I don't want to sound offensive to people, because you just, a lot of superhero movies are just focused on white,
there's nothing offensive. What you're about to say, there's nothing offensive about it, at least.
I like how they're planning to diverse. Now, there's a big conflict with diversity for reasons and why. Now, I think it's good to kind of get a bit of, and I think Miss Marvel is actually a Muslim, which kind of relates to me as well. So, and a Pakistani Muslim, so that's interesting. But I feel like I think the MCU is doing a great way to put in. You don't have to be white to be a superhero. Anyone can be.
And this is, I think. So let's break this down to actual. I love that we've hit this point in the conversation. And just to remind you guys, this isn't scripted. Like, we're all just kind of, we're just trying. So when I go to a cinema or see a film, I like to feel emotions with it, whether that's a horror or a romance or comedy or inspiration. I like to feel those emotions because I like to be drawn into a sense of escapism. And, for me, being a nearly 30-year-old typical white guy living in the UK, it was quite easy for me to relate to all these different superheroes, even superheroes back in the 80s, Superman and everything else, because they all came from one particular background. But for the rest of the world, India, Bollywood films, Pakistan, Africa, Mexico,
China,
Singapore, Hong Kong, anywhere else, it's a bit like, oh yeah, I can see it, but it just takes that little something away. And I think the whole point of a film is you should, no matter where you're from, who you are, what religion you follow, or anything like that, you should be able to relate to those, or there should be certain elements or certain characters that you can directly relate to. So I am really glad that they're diversifying like this. I think they've got to do it carefully because they are going into uncharted waters. And of course there's going to be some backlash. There's always backlash.
There's a difference between, I don't want to go a whole topic about diverse and everything like that. Look, I'm diverse, but I think certain characters should be diverse for a reason. I know there's backlash for both ways, where sometimes they diverse to a character for no reason, but not for the purpose of the story. And then some people get upset that there's more white people in the story, but it's for the script.
Yeah.
I just say diverse depending on the story, if it fits. I don't want to sound like an anti-diverse person. I do respect that as well. Like I was saying, I'm glad they're building more diverse superheroes. But I also would say, do it if it suits the story, not for the sake of it. But it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter how would they do it, and
I'm just going to touch on this subject just very briefly, and it's not related to MCU. I have a very interesting point about diversity and everything, and that's Doctor Who. So I don't know if we have any Doctor Who fans watching. All I'll say is I have absolutely no problem with Jodie Whittaker being the female, with the Doctor being a female and Jodie Whittaker. Absolutely no problem with it. The script writing, on the other hand, well, that's a different kettle of fish, and that relates exactly to what you just said, Shahzaib. It depends
on the script.
Exactly.
Even with James Bond, because there's talks of a black James Bond or or a female James Bond, but I know they're really going for the diverse, but I think Hollywood still have to be a bit careful what they do, because they don't want to ruin this. It's all about the script and the story, and if it suits, because it's hard now because we don't want to be too offensive to people. I'll
tell you what I think just about James Bond, because you touched something right there, and I'm going to say something that I don't think maybe many people maybe have heard. I don't think James Bond should be a female. Period.
No, because his character is a playing, gambling woman. Woman's.
There's all those things, maybe go stereotypical and more male, but I'll tell you why I don't think James Bond should ever be played by a female, because I think a female incarnation of James Bond has too much of a story to tell that should be caged within the history of 007 James Bond.
Yeah,
I think if you're going to do it...
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, that it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do it, because a female equivalent of James Bond has so much to say, so much, it's a completely different character, arc.
They could do a female style James Bond, but not call it James Bond.
Exactly.
Don't ruin. I don't want to sound harsh. Don't ruin the character's history. James Bond is this type of person, and
I think that there's so much to say and so much to tell from a female equivalent of James Bond that I don't want it to be standalone, because I think the character could be too much to be caged in by that history. I want her to develop herself. Anyway, that's my piece on James Bond.
Let's go back to MCU. We've got about, I think, 8 minutes till we wrap this up. But okay, so let's talk about. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is also on its way.
Mm-hmm. Can I just make one point about Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, go on.
What a perfect soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like that song, like, you know, I was cycling to work a few days ago, and I thought I was getting on my bike to go to work, and I was like, what do I want to listen to? And I was like, oh, what's that Guardians of the Galaxy song? I'm actually put into, Google. I searched it. I was like, oh, that's it. And I was just like, this is great, because the unless it was in that film, I would have never have heard it. But because it was in that film, I really like it, and I think it's great. Perfect soundtrack.
Well. Anyway, however Marvel's going to do it, there's like I said, I feel like they've got so many rosters of characters they can bring in. So even though Endgame ended the whole main Avengers, it doesn't mean that they can't continue on, because there's so much other characters out there. And I'm not going to believe they're going to stop making Marvel movies since after Endgame, but
I agree with you.
They have to make it because it's the license as well.
And let me just say this as well, just about Marvel. So Marvel's been around, obviously, for centuries, for a long time.
And just remember Stan Lee, because...
Yeah, exactly. That guy, what an icon. And how many people's childhoods and future adult lives has he influenced? Brilliant man. I don't think Marvel has ever, in its entire history, been as successful and as powerful as what it is now, and I am so happy about that.
I've got a question for you, actually. I'm sorry to interrupt, but is Marvel movie cinema? I don't know if you heard about Martin Scorsese's, and it's like about a year ago now, but like he's saying Marvel is not cinema, it's a theme park. I just want to know your own belief. Is Marvel cinema? I
think it's cinema. I think it's cinema.
It is cinema.
All it is just it's cinema that's related.
I don't think any film is technically not cinema. It doesn't matter. Like, I get his point of films where back in his days. I don't want to chat going, okay, boomers. I don't want that chat spam going through that, but back in my days of films has evolved in different ways. You had horror. Horror was popular in the 80s. Then you got this even before that, but like horror, action. I mean, in this time, there's so many horror movies. You had like action and the sci-fi, and I think Marvel. What people don't understand, Marvel does multiple genres, which is incredible. It's not. Yeah,
and for one studio and for one company to branch out to so many different touch points, it's a real tribute to everyone who works there, that who has worked for them, the directors, the screenplay writers.
Even the CGI, I know a lot of people do complain about CGI not being good, but just remember how much hours that take to do one little frame. I've actually got a bit lucky to actually meet one of the CGI animators from Spider-Man. He was actually working from LucasArts, and he actually worked on the Spider-Man swing from Far From Home.
Oh wow!
Because I was in this film festival, and then I went to watch this panel, and I gave a bit of a question about what is this theory about the Phase 4 thing, because there was like a Four sign I thought was a Fantastic Four Easter egg, but anyway, going a bit off topic. But yeah, so yeah, showing his like animation, his hard and effort. I think the MCU does really well. It's like the amount of effort they do with the CGI. And I gotta admit, I know there's bad CGI and there's good CGI, but this is as well as art. It takes so much time to create one frame. So like the animators out there it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's not easy. For a 3-minute scene in a film could take hours and even days to finalize. So yeah, like it's not easy. I think back to our own experiences with our own films and how long that. And it's like
once you make, the thing is, like, you can be a critic and you can judge films, but when you make them, you kind of get the same feeling from you appreciate it more with the creators. Like even acting, when you're acting
for a brief moment,
when you're acting on Spider-Man 2, you get the shoes of the style of an actor's career.
Yeah.
You feel the same kind of not maybe the same experience with what they do, but like it's similar,
Yeah, and the thing is, people, although like with anything, like Formula One drivers, the sport looks glamorous and the rewards are there. But what you don't see is the endless hard graft and the hours of work in the background. Exact same goes for any professional sport, top level sports person and actors and actresses across the board. So and again, this is testament, again, we'll go back to the original thing about Marvel and how they branched out. When you think about the volume of work that has to be put in and the consistent high level of delivery, the execution of their films, coupled with the audience's what's the word I'm looking for? The audience's demand for more because they're doing so well. To quote a similar phrase, you couldn't write it. It's just perfect, and I think the future is looking incredibly bright for them.
I feel like exactly the same thing. I feel like there's no way of ending. Obviously, you can go with the same storylines, but I feel like, again, the MCU is a lot brighter now, especially with the assets of the new characters, especially the Fox characters. Also, just a quick note, they recently got the rights to Daredevil back.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's going to be interesting. I hope Charlie Cox return, because I love that Netflix series Daredevil. And he played... You need to watch it. You need to watch it. It's brilliant, and I hope they bring him back in the MCU, which I always thought it was connected, but apparently it wasn't. But yeah, so anyway, I know Marvel has a great future itself because they've got so many, like, example, writers and, like the Russo brothers, and, I know there's big things planned, and I guess it's going to be a very multiverse future. So who knows? And I think Marvel's gonna hit us again and kind of give us something incredible.
And what do you guys think? So the people watching, what do you guys think about Marvel's future? Is there anything that you guys are happy with or not unhappy with? Where are you at with this? Love to hear your comment. Hear you chat. Sorry, when I actually took. Love to
hear you guys' thoughts, but like I said, I think Marvel got a good hand of ideas. I think they're gonna surprise us with another home run. And I think Kevin Feige, his involvement with that is also a good reason because he's kind of like helped to get Spider-Man back to the MCU. And, he done quite a lot of, not going to say everything from him, but, the whole writers and everything. And I'm really excited. I don't think it's ended since Endgame. I think that's just the end of the 5 characters.
Do you think, and just 2 points, or just 2 questions. First off, what do you think they should do specifically about the future of Black Panther?
Now this is a hard thing. As much as I want to see Black Panther. They're already making it though. A lot of people are a bit upset, but they're going to start filming in July. I don't think they're going to do a CGI double of Chadwick Boseman because I feel that'd be a bit too disrespectful to the family, and because it's a very hard choice really, because it's a very hard situation what to do. You don't want to. I think there's ways to get around it. I feel like they could maybe pass the torch to another character. So, I don't think they should. Recast Chadwick. Maybe just. I would. This sounds insane, but I wouldn't mind. They would. I know Shuri would be a good Black Panther, but I think they're already figuring that for the future. So they can't do it right now. So I know that's like the ideal thing. I wouldn't mind seeing Killmonger comes back and then pass the torch to him, because Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, I think they're really good friends. I think a lot of people said they want Killmonger to. I don't know. I know he died in the Black Panther, but Marvel movies resurrect people.
No, you never say never.
But maybe pass on someone close to T'Challa. But yeah, it's a very tricky thing to. And I'm a bit surprised they already started filming it, but I don't think Black Panther's character's gonna die in the film, the people. It will live on forever. Because I think he touched so much people, all these kids' heart, But he's an icon. He's a legend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that star will only continue to grow.
I think we're gonna be ending the stream now, but I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm glad you hear a bit of ideas and thoughts about MCU. Look forward for our next episode. It'll be probably a different topic, so we're always gonna we're not gonna tell you what it is yet, but we'll hopefully inform you on our next community group. So, but yeah, Alex, do you have anything else to say?
No, my only the final point was I was going to ask, do you think that Stanley's daughter should be involved in any of the future films? For me, I don't know about that. And finally, guys, if you want us to talk about anything specifically, so if you have like a topic you're like, oh, guys, talk about this, whack it in the comments. Not obviously in the live comments because we can't see it after it's been broadcast.
Yeah.
But whack it in the normal comments of the video or in the community group.
The whole idea of these live podcasts is not just to talk about topics, but we want to kind of interact with you guys as well. So if you want, you're going to be listeners for like an hour or something. And, if you got any ideas of topics we should talk about or thoughts or anything like that, just pop it down. And then we might come up with that in maybe a next live stream. So,
yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, look, stay safe, stay warm, because it's bloody freezing out there.
Winter is coming.
Forget winter is coming. Winter is here.
Oh no, we need to call Jon Snow. All right,
guys.
Bye.
Take care. Good night.
Good night.